Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace. Welcome to The Natural Cook. I'm Anna Gershenson. Today we have another special episode, and thank you for joining us. We have two wonderful guests. Morgan Ovitsky from Pittsfield Be Well, and Amanda Chilson from Northern Berkshire Community Coalition. These two young ladies, you wouldn't suspect they are so young, but they are doing such an important work for our community. And when I learned about their work, I thought that it is very important for all of you to realize what they are doing, what kind of need exists in our community and why. And if you want to help out, that you have an opportunity. So welcome to my show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I know that you are very busy, so I really appreciate that you came on. So at the same time, I want to let my viewers know that we prepared some special recipes for them. So both Amanda and Morgan are very skillful in the kitchen, and they will be, talking and cooking at the same time. And you just start telling us about your work. And I will be interrupting you if I have any questions. And at the same time, I will be also interjecting, showing people what it is that we're doing.
Fantastic.
Okay, so go ahead, ladies.
So I can start with an introduction. I'm the Health and Wellness Coordinator at the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition. And I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, and I'm Morgan Ovitsky, as Anna said, and I am the Project Coordinator for Be Well Berkshires.
And so one of the programs we work on is Mass in Motion, which is a grant that's funded by the Department of Public Health. And one of the charges we have is around food access and healthy eating. And so one of the, upon doing community assessments and community conversations and interviews, the conversation came up about a food access collaborative of bringing folks together that work with food, that distribute food, that produce food, that are involved in any part of our food system in Berkshire County together in one space to have a conversation about food and the access to and how to enhance food security in our region. We thought the best way to go about doing that would be to have regional conversations. So there's a food access collaboratives in Berkshire, or throughout Berkshire County in North, Central, and South. And we meet quarterly. And so I help to organize and convene the North Berkshire Food Access Collaborative. And if you want to talk about Central and South.
Sure, and I...
Okay, let me interrupt you for just
Absolutely.
a second.
What's next?
So, first of all, I wanted to let people know that we're making two dishes.
Yes.
And one of them we decided to make kid-friendly by including hot dogs in it. And the other one will be a salad that is made with quinoa. And I know that you are both very passionate about introducing healthy eating to the community, because I saw the list of ingredients, the list of, donation items that you are looking for, and they are very, very healthy, including what kind of oils people should be using in their cooking. So today I made quinoa, and let me quickly say that I made it in advance, but it is so simple. You just wash quinoa, maybe in 3 changes of water, and strain it. And then you put a cup of quinoa here, and then 2 tablespoons shy of 2 cups of water, usually like having a little less. Salt, maybe a teaspoon. Taste, it should be well seasoned. Bring to boil, lower to simmer, cover. 20 minutes is done. So this is going to be a salad that we are going to make with also black beans and corn and a flavorful dressing. So I will allow you to continue.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Yes, you already did some chopping for me, which is fantastic. So please continue sharing about your important work, and I will be making the dressing, and you will be, listening to my guests and also watching what I'm doing. Okay?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll just continue on with the start, and then you can
Sure.
talk about like the
Yes.
priorities.
Yep.
But so, as I said, we started convening our food access collaboratives in North, Central, and South in 2017. Really starting the conversation with a lot of folks in the room to learn about what's already happening in our food system in North Berkshire. So at the distribution level, at the policy level, at the education level, at the emergency food site level, producing, and so on and so forth. And we took that information and we put it all together, and then met again the following quarter to, again, now that we know this information, what are our priorities?
Sure.
Take it from
Yeah, and we did a very similar, almost identical process in Central and in South Berkshire County. And in Central and South Berkshire County, what we discovered through our conversations was the rural nature of our county is one of the biggest barriers to accessing food. I guess Anna really wanted us to kind of highlight some of the reasons that there is food insecurity in our region.
Yes, I didn't even realize, and then I understood how many people don't realize that there is this issue.
Right.
And people think about, eating healthier, losing weight, but they don't realize how many people, because of the nature of where we live, don't have, I'm not even talking about, the low incomes, but just don't live in food deserts with no transportation.
Yeah. And I think it's also important to note too that what we've learned is we've definitely learned the higher rates and the people that are food insecure. But in the same time of going through this and having these conversations and convening quarterly with our food access collaborative, we've also learned the plethora of resources that we have available in regards to food access. And I think that's one of our biggest charges and one of our biggest focuses is how do we help connect those that are food insecure to all of these food access resources that we have. So how do we begin those conversations and those connections?
Right. So just to paint a picture of food insecurity in our region, 12% of Berkshire County residents are food insecure, and the way that we're defining food insecurity is having lack of access at times to enough food for an active, healthy life for all household members, and limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate foods. So if someone is food insecure, they may have access to fast food or to convenience food, but not necessarily the food that's going to help them live an active life. So what we know in Berkshire County is 12% of Berkshire County residents experience food insecurity. So that's roughly 16,000 people. Of those 12%, 27% of them are children. 13% are age 65 plus. And an average of 16,000 residents seek food assistance monthly in Berkshire County. And 70% of residents report eating less than 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, which is what is recommended for health. So we, in our conversations and through our work, we've identified a few barriers to and why there is such a high number of food insecurity. So as we said, we live in a rural area. If you don't have access to a car, our public transportation options are limited. Many buses in Berkshire County have a 2 grocery bag limit.
Really?
Yes. So
Interesting.
if you use public transportation to get to the grocery store, you can only bring 2 bags home. We have a high amount of working poor, what we're calling working poor.
Yes.
In Berkshire County, so a total of 29% of food insecure population lives above the threshold for things like SNAP and some of the other federal resources. We do know that there's a strong correlation between poverty and food insecurity in our region, as well as across the state.
Okay, so very quickly, I'm going to just tell you that I put red onion, grated garlic, grated lime zest, and chopped jalapenos, and lime juice and salt, and I'll let them sit a little bit, and then I'll add olive oil, And this is something this is the dressing that quinoa will go into, and then it will be very quick because then we'll add beans, corn, and herbs, and our dish will be ready. And now I'll start working on cooking the hot dogs. If you can please, yes, if you can please slice them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that will be awesome.
I can mash.
Sure.
Okay. And then once the hot dogs
Maybe
are
that
ready,
cool
we will
masher.
move them out of the pan.
Thank you.
And I do not recommend using a big pan, but there was no flat pan available. You please do the flat pan at home. Okay, and so why I am macerating these?
Oops.
Because when onions and garlic sit in an acidic environment like either citrus juice or vinegar, then they soften and they become more palatable, and they just taste better. So since we don't have a lot of time, I will just add it now. But I recommend for it to sit like 10-15 minutes. Okay, and then I'm adding, we will actually post these recipes on my Facebook page, The Natural Cook with Anna Gershenson. So if you want to see them, you can just go to my page, and when the episode comes out, I will post, as well as I will post some items that people might be interested in bringing, donating for people in need to use. So please go on.
Sure. So, as Morgan was saying, talking about a lot of the data, and so we're using that now to work through our food access collaboratives, but also it helped us to realize that we need to kind of broaden the sectors of those that attend our food access collaboratives. And so when we think about poverty and food insecure being high among our population that lives in any type of poverty, how do we help connect them also to food access, whether it be through housing, through transportation, through the clinical sector as well. So we held a Berkshire Food Access Summit in which we intentionally invited all sectors across the county, and had a fantastic turnout of about 85 people, cross county, cross sectors, to really help expand our conversation, expand our outreach, and help us kind of paint the picture a little bit around the connection of food security and how it can relate to all sectors of the folks that we work with and interact with, and the people that are experiencing food security also interact with.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note, if you are passionate about this, you don't necessarily have to be part of the food world to get involved. So as Amanda said, we're broadening the reach of our food access collaboratives. We meet quarterly in North, in Central, and in South. If you would like to get involved and be part of the conversation, and we really do try to host these as conversations. Amanda and I are kind of facilitating the conversation, but it's very much the community informing us on what our priorities should be. So if you want to get involved, you can get in touch with Amanda or I. And our contact information will be on Anna's page, on your Facebook page? Okay.
Perfect.
Everything that I can do.
And I think another important piece of what we also have been doing and continue to work from is our community food assessment, which we took the priorities, we listened to the community, we listened to the people in the food access world, identifying the assets, the challenges, the gaps, and use those to really help put together, again, community-wide, as a food access collaborative, a community food assessment for Berkshire County. It's a rather longer document, but from that we've put together a one-pager that really helps to summarize the priorities. And it's an active document, so it's going to be forever changing. We're going to be able to tick some stuff off, check some boxes based on some of the work that we've done, add more to it as well, as I think that this is an evolving conversation, and the work that we'll be doing and the priorities we're working on is also evolving. And we're also currently working on connecting with, again, across sectors, various organizations, community-based, the clinical world, clinical sectors, to find out what food access information they have currently, what food access resources they have currently. So when they're working with a population of folks they work with, we can kind of compile in area resources of food access, so everybody's consistent in referring folks to all of the resources that we have here.
Okay, so Morgan is chopping some rosemary for me. And rosemary goes really well with white beans that will go into this dish. And also, everything is very healthy. We don't need to tell you that, right? You know that already. So it's more important for us to talk about your work today than about these healthy ingredients. So I'll quickly tell you that I added warm quinoa to the dressing because when it's warm, then it absorbs flavors much better.
Oh, nice.
And then the garlic is sauteing. We added rosemary. We added carrots. And then we'll add some chopped kale. Okay. And we will just saute them. And I always add a pinch of salt because to build good flavor, it's very important to season things as you go along. Because when you add salt at the end, you never will manage to coax the flavor from the ingredients that you are cooking the way that you really can if you add salt. You don't have to add a lot, just a pinch, but this will really help. So while this is cooking, so we have mashed beans, right?
Yep.
Okay,
These
so
have been mashed.
we sauteed this. You want to make sure that, you saute for a few minutes so the garlic softens, and then if you can please just chop this and chop some scallions. See how wonderful it is to have good helpers, right? Then everything goes much faster, right? So first of all, you saw that, we have a lot of things prepped. So this is called mise en place. And mise en place means that when you come into the kitchen, and we all want you to cook things, right, for yourself, and that's why we're talking about you getting ingredients so that you can cook. And beans, I understand that, beans are easy to bring to a pantry to donate, but people don't really know what to do with them, and that's why today I chose 2 dishes. Both of them have beans. One is a salad with quinoa, and we will add black beans to it. And of course, with beans, before you add, you want to open the can, you want to have a strainer, you want to drain your beans so that this liquid in which it was in the can strains, and then you just run cold water over it to make sure that they are nice and clean. And so we are also adding here a cup of cooked corn, and I use frozen organic corn. And so this actually is basically pretty much our salad. We will just add some chopped herbs to it, and then we will be tasting. And that's another thing that is very, very important, tasting. When you cook, you don't know whether you will like it or not unless you taste it, right? And see now, you see these colors, black and kind of yellow brightens it, kind of dull. So this is why we need all these wonderful things, right?
Do you want the cilantro in there?
Yes, absolutely.
And how about the scallions, Anna?
Yes. And now I'm adding water to make sure that my carrots soften, so they will cook a little bit with water, not too much, like maybe a 1/4 cup of water. And then we will just add mashed white beans. This time, the way I say it is kids friendly, because they might not even know they're there if they don't like beans, right?
They mash right in.
They will be eating healthy food full of vitamins and minerals and fiber, and they might not know what is there. And then also, if, for example, you don't have crushed tomatoes, but you have pasta sauce, right? Feel free to add your pasta sauce. You don't have to be, so stringent and think, oh, if the recipe says that. And the more you cook, the more you trust yourself. Right. That's why we want you to really experiment, not to be tied to the recipe, but just to cook things and taste them and see if you like them, and get your kids involved in helping you chop things.
Yes, that's super important.
Okay, and so now we add a can of crushed tomatoes and mix everything together and see if this is, this will be kind of like a almost like a pasta sauce, you know. You can even like make it thinner if you add a little more water, and then dump it over pasta and just toss it together. If your kids love eating pasta. So now we have to start tasting things.
All right.
Yes, also cumin goes into this. And cumin, you know, you could put cumin into the dressing. Okay. So excuse our mess.
That's what happens in the
So,
kitchen.
right, why don't you toss it? And we'll add our hot dogs. All right. And mix everything together. And if you feel that cheese would, you know, you want like, for example, feta cheese would be great with this salad, right? It will give it wonderful flavor. And here, if you feel that you want to maybe this particular dish, you can put it into a casserole dish, and then you can sprinkle some grated mozzarella, right? Or mix it with some pasta to make it more attractive. And then it's ready in your refrigerator. You stick it in the oven. You make it in advance. You stick it in the oven. Your dinner is ready, you know, and you put it on the table with salad, and you have a wonderful, healthy dish. So let's start tasting to see what's missing. Take spoons. There are more spoons
Yep, I got
over
some
there.
spoons.
Here are, by the way, tasting spoons, so that we don't dip twice, because we don't want each other's germs, right?
No.
Okay. What I like doing, I like using one spoon as a, you know, spoon that I place into my other spoon, then I can. Okay. So far, I feel. Tell me what you feel. It tastes pretty good, right?
I like it.
Do we need more salt?
I
It
don't
really,
think so.
no. You know, I brought sriracha, even though there are,
Avocado to give them that too.
yeah, avocado would be awesome. Actually, it would be great not to maybe to place it on a plate. You know, look how beautiful it is. If you put it on a plate, and then you will take avocado, you cut it in half, right, and take out the pit, and then you fan it on top.
Oh, nice.
And, right, and then whoever likes avocado will take it and put it onto their plate.
Right.
And if you don't like it, then, you know, you don't have to have it. But, you know, fat makes everything taste better. And of course, avocado is a wonderful source of fat. Delicious, neutral. Okay, we can put, you know, a little leftover for decoration.
Decoration.
Because I learned from my mom that you eat with your eyes first.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So whenever you put something pretty, then it always will have a higher rate of success that people will be actually eating it. Okay, now let's taste this. Take your spoons and let's taste this. It started already kind of burning because I wasn't attentive. Okay, let's see how it tastes. Okay. Amanda, do we need sriracha there?
Let it cool for a second.
Yeah, I know it's really, really hot. I'm not sure if the vegetable have vegetable cooked through. Yes?
The carrots have, yeah.
Okay, so what do you think about this?
I also think it's good.
Yeah? Because you have to remember that salt, fat, acid are three things that really make a difference in the final dish. So if you feel like something is missing, like we were talking about avocado, that will actually bring even more flavor to this dish. And here, you know, you can always add some lemon or lime juice. Like lime won't go here. Lime goes with these like corn and beans. Lemon would go here,
Or the
or a
tomato,
splash.
too. The
Or
tomato
tomato
is
is
acid, yeah.
actually acidic, right? So we have a chef here.
So what did you say, salt, fat, acid?
Salt, fat, acid. So if you need to fix your flavors, remember, it's either missing salt or fat or acid. But here we have hot dogs, which give us plenty of salt, right?
Yep. And some fat.
The beans give it some fat.
Yeah. actually, it tastes kind of very Italian, right?
Yes, it does.
Right. So I think that basil would be a great addition.
Oh, yeah.
I think that if we had basil here, because in the original recipe there was no basil, but when you taste it, you kind of think, okay, basil would be good here. I also would like to add some freshly ground black pepper. Number one, it really will heighten flavors. Number two, I found out recently that black pepper makes all the nutrients more bioavailable. So they will be absorbed better. So that's why it's also a great idea to add pepper. Yes. So is there anything else you want to add? Because I think that we are running out of time. And
I think
yes.
importantly, if you want to get involved or learn more about the food access collaboratives and the food access work that's going on through the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition and Be Well Berkshires, visit the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition's website at nbccoalition.org. That information will be available on Anna's page as well, but our community food assessment is there, as well as the work that we're doing around food access.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So we managed to prepare, because you were pitching in with your wonderful skills, 2 delicious dishes that are very healthy, that use beans, that have a lot of fiber, a lot of flavor, and I'm so grateful that you could make it to my show. I know you're very busy. Amanda was driving all the way from North Adams.
That's all right.
Right, and I hope that this will be a wonderful education for our community and a way to help and pitch in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Join us again next time. Bye. Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace.